Emmerdale aired a moment we've been waiting for a long time on Thursday night. Cain Dingle punched Joe Tate. But it has sadly caused all kinds of trouble, and Cain has been backed into a corner. After Joe set Cain up, Cain lashed out, and now he is facing an even more uncertain future. The pressure really is on, and fans know what they want to happen next. Fighting cancer in secret, Moira being in prison, the farm on the verge of going under, and Joe Tate on his back, are all causing Cain to crumble in Emmerdale right now. But rather than tell anyone what's actually going on, he has started stealing cars to help pay the bills. He got away with stealing Joe's DeLorean the other week, when Graham discovered he had cancer and covered for him. But on Thursday, March 5th, Cain was not so lucky. In fact, Joe had set the whole thing up. He'd bought a very high-end car, parked it in full view of Cain, and went for a pint in the pub. Cain roped Commie in, they stole Joe's keys, and Cain took the car away. Job done. Only it wasn't that simple. Joe had installed tracking cameras, and caught the whole thing on camera. With no way out, Cain lashed out and punched Joe to the ground. As he was about to go back in for some more, Dawn came running round the corner and broke the men apart. She said she was going to call the police, but Joe stopped her. He will keep the police out of it, in exchange for the farm. Next week, it's clear Cain can't see any way to deal with this situation. Joe once again threatens him with the police, and the bills are still mounting up. Cain tells Sarah Joe has got him with the video footage, and Sarah insists he now has to tell Moira the truth. Finally realizing he has to come clean, Cain visits Moira and reveals everything. Devastated, she is still firm that his health has to come first. And then she summons Tate to the prison. But what is Moira planning? In a poll run on Emmerdale Insider, viewers have been very clear in their demands for what happens next. Under no circumstances whatsoever should Moira sell the farm to the Tates. A massive 83% of voters will not entertain the idea that the Tates could win this battle. Comments included, "No, don't sell the farm. Fight them all the way." And "No, drive your tractor through manure and splash Joe all over with it, that would be a great laugh." Others referenced Moira's love for the farm, and the fact daughter Holly is buried there. One added, "Emmerdale needs a happy ending for that family." There were some who believed it was time to sell, but not to the Tates. Suggestions ranged from Caleb buying it to get the family out of trouble, Graham being the one who takes it over, and giving it back to Robert to farm in the Sugden name. So whatever does happen when Moira faces Kim, fans have been very clear it must not be selling up. But will Emmerdale listen? The village of Emmerdale has witnessed many rivalries over the years, but few feuds have burned as fiercely as the escalating battle between Cain Dingle and Joe Tate. On Thursday night, viewers finally saw the moment many had been waiting for. Cain losing control and punching Joe squarely to the ground. But the long-anticipated confrontation didn't bring satisfaction or victory. Instead, it pushed Cain deeper into trouble than ever before, leaving his future hanging by a thread. For weeks, the tension between the two men had been building. Every encounter carried a hint of violence. Every conversation ended with threats or barely concealed anger. Fans knew it was only a matter of time before things exploded. When that explosion finally came, it changed everything. The pressure crushing Cain. Right now, Cain Dingle is under more pressure than he has faced in years. To the outside world, he still appears to be the same tough, unshakable figure he has always been. But beneath the surface, the cracks are beginning to show. The biggest secret weighing on him is his health. Cain is fighting cancer. But instead of telling his family or asking for help, he has chosen to keep the diagnosis hidden. The fear of appearing weak, combined with his instinct to protect those he loves, has pushed him into silence. While Cain struggles with his illness, his wife, Moira Dingle, is locked away in prison. The farm they built together, the place that represents their entire life, is on the brink of collapse. Bills are piling up. Work is falling behind. And without Moira there to help run things, Cain is trying to hold everything together alone. Then there's Joe Tate. Joe has been circling Cain like a predator, waiting for the right moment to strike. His threats have become increasingly dangerous, and his intentions are clear. He wants control of the farm. With everything happening at once, Cain is being pushed closer and closer to breaking point. Desperate choices. Instead of asking for help, Cain has been making desperate decisions. In a bid to bring in quick money and keep the farm afloat, he has turned back to old habits, stealing cars. It's a risky move, but Cain believes he has no other option. The farm is more than just land to him. It's family history. It's where memories live. It's also where Moira's daughter Holly is buried. Losing the farm would mean losing a piece of their family forever. So Cain takes risks he normally wouldn't. He steals vehicles, sells them quietly, and uses the money to cover the mounting bills. For a short while, it seems like his plan might actually work. But Joe Tate has other ideas. The first warning. A few weeks earlier, Cain managed to steal Joe's DeLorean without getting caught. The theft could have exposed everything. But fate intervened in the form of Graham Foster. Graham discovered Cain's cancer diagnosis and realized the theft wasn't about greed or revenge. It was about survival. Instead of reporting him, Graham chose to protect him. For Cain, it felt like a lucky escape. But what he didn't realize was that Joe Tate was watching more closely than anyone suspected. Joe had begun to suspect Cain was responsible for the car thefts. Instead of confronting him directly, he decided to set a trap. And he planned it carefully. Joe's perfect setup. On Thursday night, Joe made his move. He purchased an expensive, high-end car. Exactly the kind of vehicle that would attract someone like Cain. Then he parked it somewhere highly visible, ensuring Cain would notice it. After that, Joe simply walked away and headed to the pub. To anyone watching, it looked like carelessness. But it was anything but. Hidden inside the vehicle were tracking devices and cameras designed to capture every moment of the theft. Joe was waiting for Cain to take the bait. And he did. The theft. When Cain spotted the car, he immediately saw an opportunity. Desperate for money, he convinced Comey to help him. The plan seemed simple. Get the keys, take the car, sell it quickly, and use the money to ease the pressure on the farm. Everything appeared to go smoothly. They grabbed the keys. Cain drove the car away. For a brief moment, it felt like another successful job. But as Cain would soon learn, Joe had anticipated every step. The truth revealed. When Joe confronted Cain, the truth came out quickly. Joe had video footage of the entire theft. Every second had been captured. The cameras showed Cain taking the keys. They showed him driving the car away. There was no way to deny it. For the first time in years, Cain found himself completely trapped. Joe had the evidence. And Joe had the power. The punch that changed everything. Faced with Joe's smug satisfaction, Cain snapped. All the stress, fear, anger, and desperation he had been holding inside suddenly exploded. Without thinking, Cain swung his fist. The punch sent Joe crashing to the ground. For a moment, the entire world seemed to stop. Years of hatred and rivalry had finally turned physical. Cain stood over Joe, ready to strike again. But before he could throw another punch, someone intervened. Dawn steps in. Dawn Taylor came rushing around the corner just in time. She quickly stepped between the two men, shouting for Cain to stop. The situation was spiraling out of control. Dawn threatened to call the police immediately. But Joe had other plans. Instead of pressing charges, Joe decided to make an offer. One that could destroy everything Cain has fought to protect. Joe's chilling proposal. Joe calmly explained that he wouldn't call the police. The theft footage would remain private. But there was a price. Cain had to hand over the farm. It was a ruthless move. Joe knew exactly how much the farm meant to Cain and Moira. He wasn't just asking for property. He was asking for their entire life. Cain was left speechless. For the first time, he couldn't see a way out. A man running out of options. As the week continues, Cain becomes increasingly desperate. Joe continues to remind him about the footage. The threat of police involvement hangs over Cain like a dark cloud. Meanwhile, the financial pressure on the farm keeps growing. Bills keep arriving. Work keeps piling up. And Cain's health continues to deteriorate. Eventually, he confides in Sarah Sugden. When Sarah hears the truth, she is shocked. But she also knows Cain can't keep hiding anymore. She tells him the lies have gone on long enough. He has to tell Moira everything. The confession. With no other option left, Cain goes to visit Moira in prison. The moment is emotional and painful. Cain finally admits the truth about everything. The car thefts, Joe's trap, the blackmail, and his cancer. Moira is devastated. Not just by the danger Cain is in, but by the fact he has been suffering alone. But despite her shock and heartbreak, Moira remains strong. She tells Cain that his health must come first. The farm, the feud with Joe, the financial problems, all of it can be dealt with later. His life is what matters. But Moira isn't finished. She asks for one more thing. She wants to see Kim Tate. Moira's secret plan. When Moira requests a meeting with Kim Tate in prison, it raises huge questions. Why does she want to see Kim? What could she possibly be planning? Kim is one of the most powerful figures connected to the Tate family. Any deal involving her could have enormous consequences. Some viewers believe Moira may try to strike a deal. Others think she might attempt to outmaneuver Joe entirely. Whatever her plan is, it could change the future of the farm forever. Fans speak out. Outside the drama on screen, fans have been passionately discussing what should happen next. A poll conducted by Emmerdale Insider revealed overwhelming support for Cain and Moira. An incredible 83% of voters insisted that the farm must never be sold to the Tate family. For many viewers, the farm is a symbol of the Dingle family's resilience and history. The idea of Joe or Kim taking control has sparked strong reactions. Fans flooded the comments with messages like, "No, don't sell the farm. Fight them all the way." And one viewer jokingly suggested a more creative form of revenge. Drive the tractor through manure and splash Joe all over with it. Others pointed out the emotional importance of the land, especially because Holly is buried there. For Moira, selling the farm would feel like losing her daughter all over again. Alternative ideas. Some fans admitted that selling the farm might eventually become unavoidable. But even those viewers insisted it should never go to the Tates. Instead, they proposed alternative solutions. Some suggested that Caleb Milligan could step in and buy the farm temporarily to help the family. Others imagined Graham taking ownership and later returning the land to the Sugden family. There were even theories about Robert Sugden eventually reclaiming the farm and continuing the Sugden legacy. Whatever the solution, fans are united in one demand. Joe Tate must not win.